Good morning. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of Stillwater. We are a diverse religious community seeking spiritual experience and all forms of knowledge in an atmosphere of acceptance, love, and respect. Our mission is to protect and perpetuate religious freedom, tolerance, and knowledge, to challenge injustice, and to nurture and serve one another and the wider community. This morning, our speaker is Reverend Susan Ross. We have musicians, Annye and Reiley. And we're ready for announcements from Terry Chaffin.
After the service, please join us for our monthly potluck. We set aside the third Sunday of the month to have lunch together and hope any guests and visitors will join us. This Tuesday, April 21st, Marcy's Movies will be showing Secondhand Lions in the Forum Room. The doors open at 7 and the movie starts at 7:30. Everyone is welcome, and there will be buttered popcorn. For more information, see Marcy Edzards. The book discussion group will meet Friday, April 24th, in the Forum Room to discuss West with Giraffes by Linda Rutledge. Video calling is available for those who can't attend in person, and for more information, contact Susan Bullard. Next Sunday's sermon will be provided by Reverend Mark Christian. His sermon title is Earth Day, After the Celebration. On Sunday, May 3rd, we will be holding our annual congregational meeting immediately after the service. You should have already received an email that has the agenda, and this is just notice so that everybody will be present. At the meeting on May 3rd, voting members will elect 4 officers for our Board of Trustees: President, Vice President, Treasurer, Clerk, who each serve a 1-year term, plus a trustee who serves a 3-year term. In addition to the board, we'll elect 1 person to serve a 2-year term on the endowment committee and 3 people to serve on next year's nominating committee. If you'd like to nominate yourself or suggest someone you think would be willing and able to serve the church in one of these roles, contact Hannah Del Preti, Rebecca Breenan, or Doug Williams. If you have an announcement, come up to one of the microphones.
Hi, everybody. You know I love my captive audience. So this Thursday, 7:30 p.m., the Council Oak Gay Men's Chorale in Tulsa is doing our cabaret concert. And I have some exciting news. Due to circumstances beyond our control, we have some complimentary tickets available. They're valued at $30 each. Since yours truly is on the board, I have some discretion in giving those away, so I thought some UUs would be nice to have in the crowd. So if you're interested in coming for free, it's in Tulsa at 7:30. I would love to have some of you present. We would like to know today by 5 p.m. the names of the butts that are going to be in those complimentary seats. So get a hold of me before then. I'm in the directory, or lots of people have my number around here. Okay. And I'd also like to just briefly say that I'm hoping to encourage a small outreach group from our choir, maybe even the choir itself, do a whole performance here in Stillwater at some time. So you getting to know us and us getting to know you would be a great thing to get involved together. So thanks, everybody.
Thank you, Robert. Other announcements?
Okay, so today from 1 to 6 p.m., we will be doing more conservation work at Camp Sylvia Stapley. The address is 1007 Redlands Road. It is half a mile south off of Highway 51. We will be clearing up greenbrier and moving gravel to help restore the trails and ponds. And food will be provided. We will be doing tacos. If you are coming, please bring leather gloves, long sleeves, and closed-toed shoes, as well as long, thick pants if you can, and bug spray. We will be, this is kind of how we are celebrating Earth Day by making it so that other people can connect to nature. So if you can come, even for just like 30 minutes, that would be super helpful. What time is that? 1 to 6 p.m. Yes, today.
Okay. Thank you, Abby. Other announcements?
Okay. We have a very quick church minute. It's not on the agenda today. It is. Oh, I looked for it and I didn't see it. Okay. Well, anyway, what I'd like to share with you is the final product of our Spirit of Life classes. They were very well attended. We had anywhere from 9 to 16 people, I believe, attending it every week for 9 weeks. And here's what I wanted to show. We had a little kindergarten project at the very end where the green leaves were leaves, and the red things are fruits, and the fruits represented things, the issues like the aspects of the spirit, and the leaves were the opportunities for spirit development. And I encourage you to look for the next version of this type of class. And the last thing, Dr. Subhash Kak has continued to share information with us. He's a very well-known and renowned scientist and poet and historian. Anyway, he has a whole series of publications that he wishes to share. If you have any interest in seeing this and reading it, check with Linda Smolin, my wife, and she has the complete list. And that is our moment. Thank you. Time for prelude, I believe.
That. This is a song called Right Now. Never know where the wind's gonna blow tomorrow. You never know just where the rain will fall. But you got right now in your pocket. You got right now in your hand. You got right now in your pocket. Spend it well. You never know how long you will be living. You Never know how long your love will last. But you got right now in your pocket, you got right now in your hands. You got right now in your pocket. Spend it well. Spend it well, it's the only time you're given. Spend it well, it's the only time you have. You got right now in your pocket. You got right now in your hand. You got this very moment in your fingers. Spend it well. No, you can't take back those words you spoke in anger. You can't make up for all the time you've lost. But you got right now in your pocket. You got right now in your hands. You've got right now in your pocket. Spend it well. Spend it well. It's the only time you're given. Spend it well, it's the only time you have. You got right now in your pocket. You got right now in your hands. You got right now in your pocket. Spend it well. Spend it well. Spend it well.
We light our chalice candle this morning as a reminder of the light that lives inside each of us and the light that lives among us as we're gathered together and the light that always lives out in the world. I'm going to ask you to do something that's a little bit different this morning from usual, and that is I'm not going to give you a word to reflect on, but I would like you to think of, if not your favorite word, then one of your favorite words. And don't spend a whole lot of time trying to decide that, because then you'll use up your whole minute. But just whatever word comes into your mind as one of your favorite words, reflect on that word for a moment and what makes it a favorite word for you. Okay, so this is a story that you have heard before, maybe if you've hung around here for a while, but that's okay because good stories need to be told a number of times. It's a story that I used in slides back when we were doing slides with stories before we got all worried about copyrights and all that stuff. So this is a story about a little boy named Jerome. And Jerome wanted to collect things. He had friends, all of his friends collected something. Some of them collected rocks, some of them collected baseball cards, some of them collected comic books. And Jerome decided that he would collect words. So he started collecting words. He collected words that he heard, and he collected words that he saw, and he collected words that he read. He collected short words like spark and bloom, and he collected longer words like whisper and candid, and he collected multi-syllable words like guacamole and kaleidoscope. And he collected some words that he really didn't know the meaning of, but he just liked the way they sounded, like aromatic and effervescent. And he also collected words that sounded exactly like what they meant, words like molasses and smudge. He filled scrapbooks and scrapbooks up with his words, and he got so many that he decided he needed to organize them. So he started putting them into files or groups of books according to the subject matter of the word. And one day he was carrying all his organized words, transporting them from one place to another, and he tripped. And all of his words just went flying through the air, and they came down on the floor all jumbled up. But the more he looked at them, the more he liked having them next to each other like that, in a jumbled up kind of way, words that he wouldn't have put together necessarily, like electric peace and cascading stars. And so he started to write poems with those jumbled up words, and then he used the poems to write songs, and he would sing them for people. And then he also discovered that the shortest words he used were actually the most powerful ones. Words like thank you, and I understand, and you matter. And finally, one day, Jerome put all of his works into these big bags and put all the bags onto a wagon, and he pulled the wagon up a tall hill near where he lived and opened up the bags, and it was a fairly windy day, and so he let all the words go, and they fell out into the valley below, and he watched as the children who were down in the valley collected those words, went around collecting them. And Jerome had no words to describe how happy that made him feel.
Nice to have children. It's time for a responsive reading, but it'd be a little bit different today. Partially because it's by E.E. Cummings and because it was selected by Susan Ross. If you look at number 504, we're going to do it by stanzas. So I'll read the first 4 lines, and then you'll read the next, and so on, if we can. I thank you, God, for this amazing day, for the leaping greenly spirits of trees, and a blue true dream of sky, and for everything which is natural, which is infinite, which is yes. How should tasting, touching, hearing, seeing, breathing any lifted from the know of all nothing, human merely being, doubt, unimaginable, you? Thank you. It's time for the offertory. Our church is supported by your donations, and we appreciate that very much. And this month, if I can get organized here. We will share a portion of our plate with CASA, Court-Appointed Special Advocates.
Please come to me when you're restless inside. Please come to me, baby, my arms are open wide. There may be nothing more that I can do but wrap two loving arms around you. Wrap two loving arms around you. Life's full of trouble, sometimes I'm no help. But I've got troubles unanswered myself. But there's always one thing that I can do. Wrap two loving arms around you. Wrap two loving arms around you. Please come to me when you're restless inside. Please come to me, baby, my arms are open wide. There may be nothing more that I can do but I'll wrap two loving arms around you. Wrap two loving arms around you.
Thank you.
I did forget to say that the story I told you a few moments ago is from a book called The Word Collector by Peter Reynolds. Available at the Stillwater Public Library. The highlight of my mornings, the one thing that I make sure that I do every morning, even if it occasionally means skipping other important things like breakfast or exercise, or if I'm having a really desperate morning, perhaps even a shower, the one thing, only it's actually three things, is to do the New York Times word puzzles. I do three of them. I do Wordle, and I do connections, and I do spelling bee. I think it might possibly qualify as an addiction. But then I also think, is it so bad to be addicted to words? I think I always have been, actually. That's why I majored in English. So I taught composition for a number of years. It's why when I was finishing my master's degree in composition and rhetoric at OSU, I chose to write my thesis by expanding a paper I had written earlier in a linguistics class about the metaphors that we human beings use when we're grieving. Words have always captivated me. Marie Popova writes, "Words are the invisible hands with which we touch each other, with which we feel the shape of the world, with which we hold our own experience. We live in language. It's our interior narrative that stitches the events of our lives into a story of self. We love in language. It is the lever for every deep and valuable relationship." Ursula Le Guin wrote, "Words are events. They change things. They do things. They transform both the speaker and the hearer. They feed understanding or emotion back and forth and amplify it." And here is Pablo Neruda on words that he put into poems. "It's the words that sing. They soar and descend. I bow to them. I love them. I cling to them. I run them down. I bite into them. I melt them down. I love words so much, the unexpected ones, the ones I wait for greedily or stalk until suddenly they drop. I run after certain words. They are so beautiful that I want to fit them all into my poem. I catch them in mid-flight as they buzz past. I trap them, clean them, peel them. I set myself in front of the dish. They have a crystalline texture to me, vibrant, ivory, vegetable, oily, like fruit, like algae, like agates, like olives. And then I stir them, I shake them, I drink them, I gulp them down, I mash them, I garnish them, I let them go. I leave them in my poem like stalactites, like slivers of polished wood, like coals, pickings from a shipwreck, gifts from the waves. Everything exists in the word. An idea goes through a complete change because one word shifted in its place, or because another settled down like a spoiled little thing inside a phrase that was not expecting it, but obeys it. They have shadows, transparence, weight, feathers, hair, and everything they gathered from so much rolling down the river, so much wandering from country to country, from being roots so long. They are very ancient and very new. They live in the beer hidden away and in the budding flower. We all learned our first words when we were very young, so young that it's doubtful that any of us remember that. We heard words first, of course, words being spoken by people around us, and then later we began to speak them, and then even later to write them. But linguists tell us that we actually didn't learn to say the words, to make words, because we heard people saying them around us. We learned to make words because that's how our brains are made. The making of language, the making of words is instinctive in us. A number of years ago, there was an episode of Radiolab on which a woman named Susan Schaller told a story of how she went to be a sign language interpreter in a class in a community college. And the first day that she was there, she noticed that there was this one young man that just stood in the back of the classroom with his arms kind of crossed across his chest and just watching what was going on. And so she asked the instructor about him, and he said, well, that young man was born deaf, and his uncle brings him every day and leaves him here in the class, but we really don't know what to do with him. So she went over to the young man and signed to him, "My name is Susan," and he signed that back to her, "My name is Susan." And so then she tried to sign something else, and he just signed it back to her. So it went on like that. Everything she tried signing to him, he just copied back to her. And they realized eventually that this young man had no language, that he didn't even understand that there was sound. He didn't understand that he was deaf. He noticed that other people moved their mouths a lot, but he didn't really know what that was about. He thought he was just stupid, and he was unable to figure out how to do what they were doing. So that went on for a while with him just copying what she signed to him until one day she decided to try something different. So she put an empty chair in front of her, and she sat down and made the sign for the word cat. And then she held up a picture of the cat. And then she ran over to the other chair and sat down and pretended to be the person who'd just been signed to. And her face lit up like she'd just gotten it, and she signed back the word cat. And she went on like that, playing, going back and forth between the chairs for a number of days. And the young man would watch, but he kind of acted bored. And then one day, she was doing that, and out of the corner of her eye, she noticed a change in his posture. And so she looked at him, and she saw that his eyes had gotten wide, and he was looking around the room like he just walked into it for the first time. And then he walked over and slammed his hand down on the table and looked at her, and so she signed the word for table. And then he ran over to the door and touched the door, and so she signed the word for door. And he pointed at the clock, and she signed clock. And then he pointed at her, and she signed again, "My name is Susan." And she said he began to cry because now he knew that everything had a name. He was in love, she said. He was in love with words. So maybe that's how it was for us when we discovered language. Maybe we were in love with words. Words are how we find each other, how we speak our truth to one another. But words are also for playing with. Not just in New York Times puzzles, but in all sorts of ways. Metaphors are one of the ways we play with words. We take two words that really don't necessarily have anything to do with each other, and we put them beside each other and make them speak to each other, like the fog creeps in on tiny cat feet, or Juliet is the sun, or hope is the thing with feathers. The artist Julie Patchkus has created a picture book that's called The Wordy Book, in which she explores the magic of words and the concepts that they conjure for us. The illustrations in the book are full of color, but also full of words. And on each page are questions that invite us to play with the words. Questions like, how high is the sky? How soon is the moon? What lies beyond beyond? When does then become now? Where does there become here? Another way to play with words is to make words up. All of us have probably done that before. My children, when they were young, decided for some unknown reason that a propane tank should actually be called a booby bathtub. So that's what they called them. And as far as I know, as adults, they probably still call them that. John Koenig's book, A Dictionary of Obscure Sorrows, offers us some words that he made up, words that he feels our language is missing, and he actually has created their meanings and their etymologies. Queeriness, for example, which means longing for a sense of certainty in a relationship. Agnothesia, the state of not knowing how you really feel about something. Swerza, the feeling of quiet amazement that you exist at all. Mapiohanzia, the frustration of being unable to fly. And devu, the awareness that this moment will become a memory. Then, if you don't fancy making words up, you can go find obscure words, words that really aren't in common usage anymore, and start using them. Like nurgling, which means cat-like demeanor, or strigiform, resembling an owl, or dinomania, which makes it sound like you're going to be talking about the popularity of dinosaurs, but instead actually once meant an irresistible urge to dance. Bibliotaph, a person who hides books. Pogonotrophy, the art of cultivating facial hair. And yonderly, which means absent-minded. Or we might play with words by finding a word in another language that means something we don't really have an English word for, and borrowing it, like saudade, the Portuguese word for a vague desire for something that does not and probably cannot exist. Or killig, the tag-along word for the feeling of butterflies in your stomach. Or trepverter, the Yiddish word for a witty comeback that you think of too late to be able to use it. Sometimes, though, of course, words are not enough. even if we play with them. This is often the case in the exploration of our spirituality. We finally don't have words for what we feel or what we experience or what we believe. There are words that maybe get part way there, but no words that get us all the way there. And for those times, there are sighs, and there is music, and there is art, and there is silence. And one thing more, the last thing in all my sermons, we play with words and we sometimes play with spirituality when we make poems. Poetry, someone has said, is a world of a universe of meaning in a mouthful of words. Maria Popova writes, language is not the content of thought, but the vessel into which we pour the ambivalences and contradictions of our thinking, afloat on the current of feeling and time. When the vessel becomes too small to hold what we pour into it, language spills into poetry. In this respect, poetry serves the same function as prayer, to give shape and voice to our unspoken and often unspeakable hopes and fears and inner tremblings, the tenderest subject of our lives, to be held between the palms and passed from hand to hand. Poetry thus becomes an instrument of self-transcendence, an instrument that, in Adrienne Rich's abiding words, can break open locked chambers of possibility, restore numbed zones to feeling, recharge desire. So, from Elizabeth Alexander, poetry, I tell my students, is idiosyncratic, thank you. Poetry is where we are ourselves, though Sterling Brown said every eye is a dramatic eye, digging in the clam flats for the shell that snaps, emptying the proverbial pocketbook. Poetry is what you find in the dirt in the corner, over here on the bus, God in the details, the only way to get from here to there. Poetry, and now my voice is rising, is not all love, 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 and I'm sorry the dog died. Poetry, and here I hear myself loudest, is the human voice. And are we not of interest to each other? And from Jane Hirschfield, The Weighing. The heart's reasons seen clearly, even the hardest will carry its whip marks and sadness and must be forgiven. As the drought-starved eland forgives the drought-starved lion who finally takes her, enters willingly then the life she cannot refuse, and is lion, is fed, and does not remember the other. So few grains of happiness measured against all the dark, and still the scales balance. The world asks of us only the strength we have, and we give it. Then it asks more, and we give it. And then from Rebecca Elson. Sometimes as an antidote to fear of death, I eat the stars. Those nights lying on my back, I suck them from the quenching dark till they are all inside me, pepper hot and sharp. Sometimes instead, I stir myself into a universe still young, still warm as blood. No outer space, just space. The light of all the not yet stars drifting like a bright mist, and all of us and everything already there, but unconstrained by form. And sometimes it's enough to lie down here on earth, beside our long ancestral bones, to walk across the cobble fields of our discarded skulls, each like a treasure, like a chrysalis, thinking, whatever left these husks flew off on bright wings. Amen, and so be it. And use your words. Our closing hymn is number 2. Nope, that's the not the right page. It's on the floor. Okay, thank you. Yes, though I may speak with bravest fire, number 34. Please stand as you are able. When we go out from this place today, may we go out to speak words of love and act words of love and play with words. Now we need to sing happy birthday, right?
It's time for the happy birthday song before we close our recording. To you, happy, happy birthday. Here's to you, happy, happy birthday. Here's to you, may goodness be all day long, and we love you, we do. Happy, happy birthday. Here's to you, happy, happy birthday.
Forgot to have people raise their hands.
Yeah, we didn't see who has a birthday this month. Raise your hands, please. Well, happy birthday. We continue now with